15 years ago, I started on my soapbox about the pills coming for our kids, and now the NHS's own data proves the ugly truth. Those pills have burrowed deep into the lives of our teens, spreading faster than the latest TikTok trend, and they're not leaving quietly. For more than a decade, the UK followed America's disastrous lead, only instead of an open polypharmacy free-for-all, ours came wrapped in the all-too-familiar pharma propaganda bubble disguised as temporary support and early interventions. But when GPs start dishing out SSRIs like the free tasters of cheese at a supermarket, covering from the child psychiatrist buried under the mountain of cases, making up their 12-month waiting lists, that's not progress. That's policy failure masked as success. And while the politicians and civil servants pat themselves on the back for a job well done, our youth continue to bear the brunt of the NHS blunder. Since the mid-2000s, UK psychotropic prescribing for under 18s has been climbing faster than the unsuspecting safari goer when they suddenly realise there's something chasing them. Not because more kids are suddenly broken, but because the system is. Antidepressants in teens have doubled. Between 2005 and 2017, prescriptions jumped from 2.5 to 5.5 per 1,000 person years. By 2018, that was 471 per 100,000, with girls 15 to 17 accounting for 61%. Antipsychotics up 2.5 times since 2000, and only 20 to 30% are for genuine psychosis. The rest off-label, mostly to manage aggression, anxiety or sleep. Because what's easier, therapy or Thorazine? And under 11s, a 41% rise since 2015. And before you think maybe they're being cautious, only 1 in 4 adolescents on SSRIs ever saw a child psychiatrist first. Then came lockdown and the numbers didn't just climb, they skyrocketed. Something which seems to have surprised many, despite myself and others warning this is exactly what would happen. Not because I have a crystal ball or I've suddenly morphed into the Oracle from the Matrix, but because it's basic psychology. This isn't better access, it's blood money. It's children being drugged so the adults in the room can have a quiet life. It's children being harmed so the adults don't have to face their failures. It's children being tortured so the adults can turn a profit. And if that wasn't enough to get your blood boiling, youth suicide in the UK is up 50% since 2015. And for girls, it's the second leading cause of death. And self-harm rates have surged 40%. Now, let's rewind to the eve of the Eli Lilly lawsuits in the USA in 2004, when the MHRA were competent and warned SSRIs could increase suicidal thinking in under 18s in the same way they do for adults. Bet you didn't know they ended up with a $1.415 billion fine, of which 515 million was a criminal fine in 2009, or that they buried the evidence showing fluoxetine, the main component of Prozac, causes agitation, panic attacks, insomnia and aggressiveness. And in truth, aggressiveness is putting it mildly. It's more like psychopathic. You see, back in 1989, Joseph Webbecker shot 20 people with an AK-47. 8 died and the other 12 were injured before he killed himself. And while he'd been depressed for a long time, he'd not been aggressive. It took a single month of being dosed by fluoxetine for Joseph to go from withdrawn to spree killer. And after a civil suit was filed by the survivors and victims' families, Dr. Joseph Glenn Moule, a Harvard psychiatrist, stated, "It should come as a little surprise that fluoxetine might cause serious behavioural disturbances, as it's similar to cocaine in its effects on serotonin." And even with all this high-profile fanfare for years, there was only a prescription dip of 42%. This dip? Bet you wouldn't be surprised to find out that it only lasted for about a year. Then the medical community shrugged, poured another cuppa and went straight back to handling them out in the same way the child catcher from Chitty Chitty Bang Bang hands out candy. By 2015, only 21% of antidepressant prescriptions even had a depression diagnosis attached. The rest, anxiety, pain, and low mood. And when you dig into trial data, SSRIs double the rate of suicidal ideation in young people. So no, this isn't just a few bad cases. It's systematic malpractice with an NHS letterhead. And here's the plot twist. The solutions already exist, and most are backed up by UK data. They're just not as profitable, patentable, or promotable as pills. And here's a list of a few of them. Nutritional therapy, why it works. B vitamins and omega-3s cut symptoms by 40% in youth trials. Quick win, NHS blood test and fish oil add-ons via free school meals. Here's another, mind-body practice, why it works. Yoga and meditation rival SSRIs for anxiety, and they're NICE approved. A quick win, 10-minute classroom sessions via Anna Freud Centre apps. Here's another one, peer and alumni support, why it works. CAMS alumni groups boost recovery and retention 80%. Quick win, link with @YoungMinds or @Mental Health UK tapering groups. And another one, holistic tapering, why it works. Slow weaning off psychotropics and counselling succeed 75% of the time. A quick win, GP shared care, tapering plans, avoiding cold turkey. Here's another one, animal assisted therapy, why it works. Reduces self-harm ideation by 25%. And a quick win, pets as therapy, school visits, and it's all NHS approved. And another one, emotional freedom technique, why it works. After 3 sessions, anxiety dropped 40% for 90% of people, and 76% had complete relief compared to 15 sessions using CBT. Quick win, a simple, easy and freely available technique anyone can master in 5 minutes. Imagine if this list replaced the prescription pad. Imagine if we funded yoga mats, nutrition programs instead of antidepressant stockpiles. The data's clear. Therapy, nutrition, and body-based practices work better long-term than meds for most under and over 18s. But the system still acts like serotonin is currency and every child is in debt. And here's where it gets even worse. The same NICE guidelines that GPs are supposed to follow, the ones that say therapy first, medication last, are being ignored routinely. Because waiting lists are too long, because budgets are too tight, because the pharmacology industry has politicians, health professionals, and the media in its pockets, because it's easier for the adults to tick a box and move on. This isn't medicine, it's managed decline with a prescription pad. So where do we go from here? Well, we push back harder than ever before. We demand NHS England's 2025 mental health audits include tapering protocols and track long-term outcomes, not just pill counts. We amplify the message that healing isn't just in the mind, it's in the body, the gut, the environment, the connection. Because if we keep ignoring the science in favour of convenience, the next generation won't just inherit a mental health crisis, they'll inherit chemical dependence dressed up as care. Our kids don't need another prescription. They need permission to heal without being labelled, medicated, or pathologised for being human. And that's exactly what we're building inside the Happiness Hacks Lab. Real tools, not tablets. The best thing, what works for adults, works for kids. And while we don't ship you out a therapy pet, we've pretty much got everything else covered inside the lab. And inside the lab, you can discover how to master emotional freedom techniques so that you can ease symptoms of anxiety, depression, PTSD, and other disorders in less than 5 minutes. You can uncover the simple serotonin boosting foods that you can pump out, the hormones your body needs to thrive every single day on autopilot. We'll guide you through gentle mind-body practices designed to release your nervous system and create space for you to feel at ease again. Reduce overwhelm by identifying your happiness archetype and follow a specific 30-day recovery plan tailored to your unique symptoms. You'll be able to connect with a bunch of like-minded people daring to buck the trend and find happiness so that you're no longer living in your own self-imposed lockdown. Plus, there's so much more. You can take the free 7-day test drive, links in the show notes, and share what you learn with those you love. After all, you are their guide. Until next time.